Hey friends, it's Holly from Chic Antique and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making over these bamboo style nightstands. This video is a furniture flip challenge. This is hosted by Clara from No Can Do here on YouTube. She challenged a bunch of us YouTubers to recreate a expensive luxury or trendy piece of furniture. All of our videos are going to be linked in one playlist. I'll have the playlist linked in my video description, as well as our host Clara's YouTube channel, so you can go ahead and subscribe to her channel as well. The tops of these are Formica, so they're pretty shiny and pretty heavy, but the rest is solid wood. The drawers slide really well, which is also a good sign, but we do have a lot of scratches and dings in the finish that I'll need to repair. And I always like to show the back of pieces in case somebody knows more than I do. It looks like this date stamp says October 2nd, 1970 something. If you have a better guess of what that date is, let me know in the comments. And here's my inspiration. I found these bamboo style nightstands on Coleman Furniture online. These specific ones have 3 drawers and they're on sale for $529, originally over $700. And then I found 2 drawer nightstands on Wayfair. These are on sale for $1,000, originally $1,100, so very expensive. We're going to start this makeover like we always do by first removing the hardware. After removing the hardware, we do need to clean these really well so we can have a good surface to paint. I'm going to be using a TSP cleaner and a microfiber rag. And here's what the dirty water looked like. After using a TSP cleaner, I always rinse it off with clean water. After letting that dry, I'm going to come back with Bondo wood filler and fill in these hardware holes. I am going to be replacing these handles with some knobs, so I need to fill these holes. And I'm pushing this in as best as I can so that the Bondo comes out the other side, and then I'm going to remove the excess on the other side. And I'm removing any excess because Bondo is pretty tough to sand after it's fully dry. Now for any scratches or dings, I'm going to be using damp plastic wood filler and filling those in. I did let all of this wood filler dry for a couple hours, and then I came back with some 220 grit sandpaper and smoothed everything out. Now I'm using a tack cloth to remove any sanding dust so that we can go ahead and prime with a good dust-free surface. I'm going to be using Zinsser Bullseye 123 primer today. This primer is going to allow the paint to adhere to that plastic Formica surface properly, and it's also going to allow my paint finish to be more durable. For this makeover, I am going for a smooth finish, so I'm going to be using a roller to apply this. When you're using a product like this, you always want to follow the directions that are on the can. For this specific primer, they do recommend using 2 coats to get proper adhesion, so that's what I'm going to do. They also have specific weather and temperature conditions, so if it's too humid or too cold, this isn't going to dry properly. After the first coat was dry, I came back and noticed that it had leveled out really well on its own, so I'm going to go straight in for my second coat of primer. After letting the primer dry overnight, I'm going to be painting using Dixie Belle's chalk mineral paint in the color in the navy. This is a very dark blue. It is a true navy in my opinion, and it's really hard to capture on camera, but it usually looks gray. Like you can see here, it almost looks charcoal or black, but I promise it is blue. When working on smaller pieces like this, I do like to flip it over upside down. That way I can see the legs better and I can get proper coverage on those areas that would be harder to reach if I were to paint this right side up. It's really easy to miss little areas on little legs like this, so I like to paint the underside first. It's just a lot easier in my opinion. It's so weird the way different lighting can change the way that a paint color looks. In this clip, it looks gray to me, and I just think that's so strange. I let that first coat on the bottom dry for 1 hour, and now I'm coming back for my second coat. You can see as I'm painting how well that Bondo worked to fill the hardware holes. They are completely invisible now. You wouldn't even know that there was previous hardware holes on this drawer. So I'm really happy about that. Now after letting the bottom dry, I'm coming back and I flipped over the piece so that I can paint the top. For smaller areas like this, I always like using a smaller brush, so I'm using a small artist brush to get really good coverage on these smaller areas that might be harder to reach with a larger brush. I actually really like using a smaller brush whenever I can because I think it allows me to get better control, even though it looks kind of silly when I'm doing larger areas with a somewhat smaller brush. It just gives me more control, and I feel like I can be more intentional when I'm painting with a smaller brush. After letting that first coat of paint dry on the top, I did come back after 1 hour and do a second coat, but I didn't film it because painting multiple coats does get repetitive after a while. Now I'm going to be sealing this piece. I'm going to be using a satin clear coat. This one is by Dixie Belle. I'm using a 2-inch synthetic paintbrush that I got from Home Depot to apply this, and I've been enjoying this brush a lot lately because the bristles are a little bit more stiff, so I feel like I have more control with the paint. Whereas with that Zibra round brush I was using a little bit earlier, it really is a soft brush and the bristles are soft as well, so I feel like I don't have as much control, and it's easier to make a mess with a brush that's not as stiff because the paint sort of flops around while you're painting. And I like to paint fairly quickly. All of these clips are sped up, but I am a pretty fast painter. I don't really like to take my time because I find that's how you get more brush strokes. If you're painting really slowly and going over the same areas lots of times, you're going to get more brush strokes. So I like a stiffer brush so that I can paint faster and paint with more control. So with this top coat, I am using really light coats. I'm going to use 2 coats altogether. I only filmed 1, but I'm using light coats because I want this clear coat to be as invisible as possible. And I'm moving very quickly, which is also going to help prevent brush strokes. And last tip for clear coat is you do want to use a synthetic brush when you're clear coating because that's going to help with texture and make it go on smoother. I know some people use sponges and things like that to apply clear coats and they like that a lot, but I really do think you need to find what works best for you. Just because something works for someone else doesn't mean that you're going to enjoy it the way that they do. It's all experimental and based on preference, I think. I'm going to be using a single knob on these nightstands, so I'm going to go ahead and drill the hole for that. And now that this makeover is complete, I just want to remind you what we started with. And here's how it looks now. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Another thank you to Clara for hosting this challenge. I had a blast creating this furniture dupe. It was fun to try something a little bit different with a specific inspiration in mind. I think that was really cool and really fun to do. Make sure to check out all of the videos of the YouTubers who participated in this challenge. I'll have the playlist linked in my description. That is where all of our videos are listed, so you can go ahead and watch all of those. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would do so and hit the bell. That way you're notified every time I post. Make sure to stay till the end for bloopers. And I thank you all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Really? This is gonna take forever. You get to the end of the project and then something always goes wrong. If it doesn't go wrong in the middle of the project, it has to be right at the end. So annoying. Aha! It did work.